Good morning here at Count Station Honey Farm. Today it's rainy and misty and cool outside. What we usually do here is we harvest our produce or our vegetables or our fruits in the summer, and then I come back and I can in the winter and make my preserves or whatever I'm doing. The reason for this is it keeps the house warm, for one thing, and I'm cold-natured. And for the next thing, in the summer you have so much you're doing outside and you're trying to get everything ready that you really just don't have the time to stand and do this. So a lot of the things we harvest, we freeze, and then in the winter I come back and I can. I've had a lot of people ask me that, you stay busy all the time. Well, yeah, but at different times of year we do different things. So what I did, my son-in-law and I, last year we called like 15 chickens. And I had my chicken soup made up until now for last year. But I used all of it this past couple of weeks when I had a terrible cold. Anyhow, so I took and thawed out one of the chickens that we culled. Now I am going to make some chicken soup, and I've had people to ask me how to make homemade chicken soup. So I wanted to get and show you step by step how easily it's done, and it is very, very good. It's sure a lot better than the canned stuff you buy, and it doesn't have all those strange name things in there. So that is a positive. Now the other positive, you have to be really careful when you can or when you do any kind, and especially like a chicken product, because well, you just have to be careful with no matter what you do. So I'm getting ready to do chicken. This is the chicken that we culled. So in my stock pot I have it's about halfway full. It's probably what would this stock pot be? Maybe a half a gallon?
Well, that's about the amount of water you got.
Okay, well, whatever. I got about half a gallon to a gallon of water in that stock pot. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take my chicken. I put on some gloves too. I put my chicken in there, and I'm going to take and slowly boil this chicken. Now, I am not going to cook the chicken all the way through. The reason that I'm not going to is because I don't want my chicken cooked to death, because when I get to the canning process, it's going to be 90 minutes in a pressure canner at 10 pounds of pressure. So that's quite a bit. So, but what we're doing now is we're just making the broth for our chicken soup. Now, which I don't have with me right now, but I'm going to take and add 1 bay leaf to this. The reason I put it in my stock part or my broth part, which this is not a stock, it's a broth. Why I do that is because in the cooking process, when I go to add the other herbs and things to it, you wouldn't have time to put the taste in. So that's the reason we're going to do this. Now I'm going to take and put this on the stove, and I'm going to slowly let it come up to a boil, and then I'm going to switch it down to medium and just let it cook slowly and get the broth made up, and then we'll come back and I'll show you the next step. Hi again. Okay, while I have my chicken on cooking, and it's about halfway right now. I've taken and I've got all my other ingredients ready. I've got 1.5 cups of celery, and I just chopped it up. And then I've got 1.5 cups of carrot, 1 cup of onion. I've got garlic, probably about 2 tablespoons. Here's 1/4 of a cup of cornstarch, and it's got water in it to make a cup. I have my spices in here. I have got parsley, I've got thyme, I've got celery salt, and It's all a tablespoonful. So we have that in there. Over here, I have a tablespoon of brown sugar, 2 tablespoons of, it's just a chicken stock. It's a dried chicken soup base. And I'll tell you where I got this. I got this at the Dinner Bell. It's just Miss Miller's. You can probably get it at other stores. But I got the soup base for the chicken. And then I've also got 2 tablespoons of the ham-flavored base too. This makes your soup has this really rich taste. So I've got 2 tablespoons of that in there. I might have to put more in when I get my chicken off. I'm not really sure. And then also I've got 1 tablespoon of brown sugar. You say, why do you have brown sugar? The brown sugar will just kind of spice up all of the other spices in your salts. I've got a teaspoon of sea salt. I've got about a teaspoon of pink Himalayan salt. Now, if you don't have that, don't worry about it. I mean, if you do have it, it's just got a lot of good magnesium and things in it for you, so whatever. And then I have a tablespoon of black pepper in there. Now, what I'm going to do now is I want to saute my onions because I want to make sure that they're ready to go in. So I'm just going to put my 2 tablespoons of olive oil in my pan. I'm going to let my oil heat up, of course, because I'm going to start with my onions. And what I want to do is I simply want to take and saute them until they become kind of clear looking, transparent. So we're just going to get that going here. Now also, while we're standing here waiting for that to heat up, now I wanted to tell you, I have got the egg pasta, and it's just a German type noodle. They're real tiny. Now, a lot of the documentaries and things that I've watched on canning foods and home canning and stuff it is not recommended that you use pasta or eggs or things like that in your canning. The chicken noodle soup I make, I have had no trouble with doing it. You don't have to. I mean, if it makes you insecure, don't do it. But I find if you get the little tiny noodles, then it doesn't make that much difference. But they tell you not to, and I do it all the time. So, but you do what you think. Bruce Barnes is still alive. I haven't done anything to him yet. So, well, we've tried. It just didn't work. But so here we'll put our onions in. We're just going to saute those a little bit to make them transparent. It looks like you got a lot of stuff going in there, and you really do, because you want your who wants a chicken soup that's runny? It's not something that you want. So anyway, we're going to saute these till they're nice and excuse me. Now, I will put the recipe on Facebook so you can take and pick up the recipe too. So you'll have it all written out for you. I'll even tell you how long to can it, and but we're going to go through the steps here, of course, so you'll see how to can it. But you'll have all the information that you need. So I'm going to go on and saute these and start and check my chicken and get it out of the water, and then I'll start showing you how to put everything together in its layers. Okay. We got the chicken cooked, and it's not completely cooked now. but it's cooked 3/4 the way full. Now, I took and cut the chicken up into pieces. Now, I used a whole chicken. If you do that, do not put the skin in there. Just think you got a good chunk of skin in there. That'd be cool. So, I've got my onions are sauteed, and they're put in there. Now my chicken is put in. I'm just sauteing the celery just a little to warm it up a little. And I'm going to drop it in. It shouldn't take but a second longer. I just want it to be, you don't want it completely cooked, you just want it to be a little transparent. That's all you want. The carrots, we're going to just take and saute them just a second. There's 1.5 cups of carrots. I'm going to put a little bit more olive oil in here because it's kind of dry. About a tablespoon. Now we're just going to soften these little fellows up just a little bit. Now while that's working, I'm going to go on and show you what you add to the rest of it. Now, I told you the different things that we had. Now, in this I have the ham broth, which is this one, the ham flavored soup base. I have the chicken soup base. I have a teaspoon of sea salt. I have a teaspoon of, a half a teaspoon of pink Malaysian salt, and I have a tablespoon of pepper in there. And I have a tablespoon of brown sugar. And I explained to you why you use the brown sugar is because it gives it a rich flavor. And if you're going to do chicken soup, you want to have it really, and then plus the brown sugar part will kind of accentuate your other flavors too. So, and you're getting a really nice thick looking broth here. Now, here's our garlic. I'm going to put it in. I have got a couple tablespoons of garlic I put in there. Now in here is my cornstarch with the water, and in here is my spices. And then I'm going to put those in a few minutes. And then when the carrots goes in and those go in, what we're going to do at that moment, we're going to start getting our canning stuff ready, and we're going to start cooking this and tasting it to make sure that it is the taste that we want, whether we need more salt or more garlic or whatever you might need in this. If you like a little bit of a hot southern taste, you can also put hot sauce in it. I myself don't care much for hot sauce, so I don't. But you can put that. There's whatever you like in your soup. So I'll be back in a second and we'll get that done. Okay, now we've got our chicken soup. We took and put all of our ingredients in it. We tasted it, and it tastes great. So the next thing we're going to do, we have to can our chicken noodle soup. Now, before this, I have had it on boiling because I wanted to make sure that it was cooked. Now, it's going to cook 90 minutes more in the jar. So since your carrots and stuff aren't cooked, don't get your panties in a wad because you've got plenty of time in that cooking process to do it. So we're going to take and put our chicken soup into our jar. Now I'm doing quarts because there's 2 of us. If you're just doing it for yourself, you can do pints also. Now, when I get my jar half done, half filled, I have these little egg pastas. Remember I was telling you? It's a really, really fine little noodles. And I'm going to put them into the middle of my brava stuff. Now, see how tiny those things are? I don't know. I'm sure people use big noodles, but I have never because, I just haven't. So if you have someone that you can go to and talk to them about using bigger things, you can. But that's all I can do. And we're going to finish putting our broth with our vegetables and our chicken. Now I'm going to fill my jar up to this bottom ring on the jar. I want 1 inch of space here on my jar. So that's exactly where I'm putting mine. Now, the next thing we have to do is before you do any canning, you've got to make sure that this ring, this is clear. And so you have to make sure it's good and clean. And this way you can check for nicks in it too. Guess who wants in? Now my jars, I have not boiled because I don't want to do anything to my ring. And it may not do anything, but the thing is I want to make sure. So I have got in nice hot water. Now, I'm just putting my lid on. I'm not putting it real tight because in the process of canning, you want it to boil till the air comes out and the liquid gets so hot that it'll seal itself, and when it does, this little ring will suck down into it. So that's what you want to happen. So here's what you end up getting. It's really very pretty. It's got your carrots and all of your herbs that you've put in there, and it's just really pretty soup. So I'm going to finish filling up my jars, and then we're going to take and show you how to use a canner. We now have our jars in the canner, and my canner will only hold 5 quarts. So that's basically what we ended up with anyway. Now, you want to put 4 quarts of water in your canner. You don't want your canner to run dry. So I put 4 quarts of water into the canner, and I put my jars in there. Now, for canning safety, you need to make sure that this hole is open. And so if you want to, you blow through it. Mine's open. And then you have a little notch here too, and it will work too for you. This tells you when you got pressure in it and when you do not. So what you're going to do, and I have a little bit of difficulty finding a hole that this goes in, but you put your top on your canner. Now as this is cooking, as the water heats up inside your canner, it's going to start circulating your heat. Now what you want to do is you have a weight that's going to go on top of your canner. When this goes on to your canner, it's going to start jiggling. When it starts jiggling and it sounds like it just jiggles, it's going to be 90 minutes from the time you put this on, from the time that this starts to jiggle to the time that you turn it off. Do not try to open that canner because you've got sealed up pressure in here and somebody could really get burned. So I'll show you what it's like when you take it out. But you know, these are, I mean, I use it all the time, but this isn't something that you can play with. You've got to know the safety rules of it, and of course I'll show you that also. So we're going to let this set up. We're going to start letting it cool. We're going to put our 10-pound weight on it. Now how do we know it's 10 pounds? because the area that we're in, according to the atmosphere, is what this is. Now, I'm not going to put this on yet, of course, because I got to let some steam start coming up. But then I'm going to put it on there. I'm going to wait till it starts to jiggle, and I'm going to put 90 minutes on my timer. So we'll see you when all of that's done. Okay, we finished processing our soup for 90 minutes. Now, if you've noticed, I've pulled it off the cap. I've let it set about a half an hour, 45 minutes. This little button right here on the side, when it's standing up, that means there's pressure in it. When it's flat like it is now, that means there's no pressure in there. You can take and reach up and you can take off your weight. The next thing you want to do is you need to take off your lid. Whenever you're doing this, safety factor, you make sure you take it off away from your face, because after all, there's steam in this thing. See? You can see the steam coming up. Now, if you guys could hear, which I know you can't, but you can hear the jars steaming in there. So here's your processed soup. And you can see it, if you look in the jar, you can see how it's boiling in there. That's how hot this gets. So what you want to do now is just set it out and let it cool, and you'll start hearing like pings when or little pops whenever you hear the lids go down. So that is the canning homemade soup process. I'm going to put the recipe on our link, so you can just take and get that if you want to make it. And you guys have a good day, and Happy New Year.